Hey guys, Torsar here with another sports talk video. And how about those games? Okay, so one wasn't too great. The other was that was a game. Now, I'd just like to say first off, I'm not going to take much credit in going 1-1. I mean, yeah, the Eagles won, but it was a blowout. I said it was going to be a close game. It was a shame Purdy got hurt. That just gave people the excuse to, oh, if Brock Purdy hadn't got hurt, you're using the last pick in last year's NFL draft as an excuse to why the San Francisco 49ers lost a 31-7 game. Okay, let's take away the 7 points that the Eagles, and mind you, you still have to convert even though you get the turnover, but let's just take away that 7 points that they got for the Josh Johnson turnover, the unassisted turnover. 24-7. You think Brock Purdy is making up for that? Listen, it could have been Trey Lance, Jimmy G, Brock Purdy, or Tom Brady. Y'all weren't winning that game. The Eagles are a better team. Just get over it. All right? Now, I did take some notes because there was a lot to go over. You know, as always, these videos are always going to be raw and unscripted, but I do feel like just a little reminders as to what I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to look at that right now. And also, the one thing that I did get very right, I said, do not take the overs in this game. If you're betting, do not bet on the overs. Even the Kansas City Chiefs-Bengals game. And I was spot on that. Both games were, I won't say well under, but the Kansas City Bengals game had a chance at the end if a couple touchdowns or like a touchdown and a field goal or something had been short. But anyway, they were both under. That's pretty much the one thing I nailed. Also, I understand the video I made yesterday about who will have the best career going forward. That take doesn't look so hot right now, but guess what? I had to make that video before that game was played because otherwise, what are the balls in making any call? All right. If I made the video today, obviously it's Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow now has a lot of catching up to do. That's why you make the video. That is the tough video to make. You make it before the game is played. So I just hope people can appreciate that. First, I thought it was funny that all the chirping leading up to the games in the week was done between the Cincinnati and Chiefs fans, and it actually ended up being after the game that there was a lot of chirping back and forth. I don't know if it was all Eagles fans or just people who wanted to see the 49ers win, like salty Giants fans for whatever reason, other NFC East fans. But all of a sudden I started seeing all this stuff I hadn't seen all year. Oh, the Eagles had an easy schedule. And, oh, they got to play a 4-string QB and a hospital team, this and that. Like, oh my, guys, calm down your sodium intake. It's going to go through the roof. First off, the Eagles played in the toughest division in football this year. And you can look at the teams on their schedule. You play the teams who are in front of you. And if you play in the best division, those same teams, the Giants, the Cowboys, and even the Commanders were decent. They're beating up on the two divisions, the NFC North and the AFC South. They directly contribute to those teams having a worse record. Okay? So all of a sudden to say the Eagles played an easy schedule, oh, they got to beat a division opponent that they've owned, it's just like excuse after excuse after excuse. Listen, the Eagles were the best team all year. Okay? They were going to beat the 49ers no matter who they had at QB. I'm sorry. I know it's tough because the 49ers have been knocking on the door for years, but that's just the way it is. I would like to say, too, any Eagles fans out there, if you're a good, decent, well-meaning Eagles fan, get some of your community in check, man. Like, some Eagles fans were being cringe, calling Purdy soft because he got injured, and, like, celebrating the injury. I mean, that's just not a good look. That's not a good look at all. And it's a shame that Purdy got hurt because that just opened up the door for Excuse City. I mean, in my game preview of that, I said that Purdy was going to be the difference in why the Eagles would beat San Fran because they were two pretty evenly matched teams. But obviously, the Eagles just have a huge advantage at QB. And like I said, it opened up the door for excuses. And, what are you going to do? The guy got hurt. That's football. Little side note, I thought Greg Olson, not knowing who the finalists were for the Coach of the Year voting, like, brother, do you even watch, like, anything outside of the games that you're calling? Like, I like Greg Olson as a broadcaster, too, but when he says that Nick Sirianni should definitely be, and he wasn't stating it like, oh, he got snubbed and he should be in there. He was saying it like, yeah, he'll definitely be in there for the running for the Coach of the Year. And it's like, dude, they already came out with the 3 finalists and he wasn't one of them. Like, I'm sure he was the 4th guy, but yeah, he wasn't one of them. And now, San Fran, I know you guys might feel, any 49ers fans out there, that I'm picking on you. No, because I'd like to ask the question, are they in a better position than even the Eagles going forward? And you may say, but the Eagles have a lot of aging players, particularly on the O-line, the defensive line, Lane Johnson. And I'm not talking just about next year. But for one, the 49ers have been knocking on the door for years now. This hasn't even been a Kyle Shanahan thing. I mean, they are just a well-run organization. For at least 10 years now, they've been going back and forth. The Eagles, they won it 5 years ago, and now they're back in it. But they didn't have too much success in between. I almost made that kind of awkward with the word I almost said. But the 49ers, they just seem to just keep going forward. And you have a rich man's problem now at QB. What do you do with Trey Lance, Jimmy G, Brock Purdy? It's a good problem to have. Never mind the fact that you could just decide to get rid of them all and maybe trade for Aaron Rodgers. Who knows? Great problem to have. A lot of they're stacked all over, probably even a deeper team than the Eagles. Yes, the Eagles have the advantage at quarterback right now. That can change within the year. I don't know about the Brock Purdy thing. You see this all the time. You saw it with Nick Foles when he had that magical run with Chip Kelly. And then it's kind of like these pitchers that come into Major League Baseball and they go 5-0 and they look amazing, these rookie pitchers, and then people get to see film on them. And you can do that when them in the Major League Baseball year because it's such a long season. Teams, they really don't have a chance to do that in the NFL. You kind of just have to prepare for who's in front of you during the week. But in the off season, they're going to find out what you're not good at. And that's all you're going to see next year. They're going to make you do what you're not good at. And I don't know if I'd rely on that, but it is an interesting question. Are they in a better position than even the Eagles going forward? I don't understand, like I said, all the salt after the game on the outcome. And as I bridge into the Cincinnati Chiefs game, I don't get what people are talking about with the bad officiating in the Eagles Niners game. Maybe I need a new TV. I don't know. Maybe I need new eyeballs. I didn't really see that as that egregious. I saw one guy, lo and behold, would you believe it? This guy, he was a 49ers podcaster. Oh, man, those guys aren't biased at all. He said it was the worst officiated game he had ever seen in his entire NFL viewership. Brother, did you just start watching football yesterday? Even Richard Sherman, I just saw on Twitter before I just made this video, said it was the worst officiated championship weekend he's ever seen. Now, I'm going to get into the Chiefs-Bengals part of it, but the Niners-Eagles game? Okay, you could go back in any game and view bad calls. Guys, have you ever heard of something called the Tuck Rule? Remember that? That started off Tom Brady's whole career, the play that should have never been called? Or how about the time we were robbed of Tom Brady versus Drew Brees in the Super Bowl because of the worst non-call ever in the history of football? That one call alone was worse than all the calls combined this weekend. We were literally robbed of the Patriots versus the Saints in the Super Bowl and instead had to watch Jared Goff fumble and bumble all over the field, and the Rams had no chance whatsoever to beat the Patriots in that Super Bowl. And guys want to go off on that was the worst officiating. No, dude, what are you guys even looking at? Like, even if you go to the Chiefs-Bengals game, like that third down, no play where everyone was like, dude, what just happened? And they came back on and you saw Zach Taylor. He was literally apoplectic. Like, dude, what do you mean that play? We stopped them on third down. And that didn't end up being anything. You know, the Chiefs didn't go anywhere with it, but you didn't know that at the time. All right? Now, to transition into that game, that was a great game. I know I called it wrong. That could have went either way at the end. It's a coin flip game between these two teams. As I said, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, you know, and the Chiefs, they got to win this Super Bowl for that, the argument about who's going to have the better career, or I should really just say debate, about who's going to have a better career, him or Joe Burrow. Right now, yeah, I'd like to just say, you know, people keep going 3-0, Joe Burrow 3-0. Oh, now he's 3-1. Like those regular season games, how much do they matter, really? Peyton Manning had a better record versus Tom Brady in his career, but we all know what happened in the playoffs. Like, though, it's just weighed so much more heavily. In the end, they're now 1-1 versus each other. And if the Chiefs go on and somehow can beat the Eagles, and I say that, I think you already know who I'm picking in the Super Bowl, but we'll get into that. We got 2 weeks. I'll probably make that video the day before the Super Bowl. But anyway, the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, they're just looking like they're the team that you're going to have to go through. I know a lot of people, they wanted that to be the Bengals now, Burrowhead, all this. I'm just glad for the rivalry. I don't have an AFC team, so to see the Brady Manning games for years, you loved it every time they met in the regular season, and they seemed to meet for years in a row. I don't know how the NFL lined that one up. Either way, hope to see it again next year and years down the road. I would like to, again, to get into the commentators, to go on the funny side of it. Tony Romo. that 4th and 1 play when Mahomes threw it to Kelsey in the end zone for a touchdown. And Tony Romo says, "Those are some stones." Oh, he had me dying, man. This is one of the reasons why he's one of the best out there right now, if not the best. Just the pure color commentator. I know they get the other guys for the analysis, but Tony Romo, man, he's great. As the game went on, Patrick Mahomes, what do you say about that performance? Skip Bayless today was trying to say that Joe Burrow slightly outplayed him, and, that bad penalty at the end, and you feel bad for that guy. What was his name? Osai. He played, I might have just said that wrong. I'm sorry. Someone correct me if I did. But he played his heart out. He was one of the only reasons, just like Chris Jones, you could probably say was the MVP of that game. If it wasn't for that guy, for the Bengals just getting through play after play, they wouldn't probably even been in it at that point, and it's just such a shame. And then to see how he reacted to it after the game, bro, keep your head up, man. You played great. You're going to be back there. You're going to get another chance. It's a shame. I know he was trying to do too much. He said he was trying to catch up to him so he could stop his momentum, so the clock would keep running, which would have made, maybe the clock would have even run out, or they would have had to rush. Either way, he was just trying to do too much. But Patrick Mahomes, what can you say about his performance? Injured, kind of staggering around. I won't say on one leg because he was still mobile, but you could tell the guy was hurt. The wide receivers that went out, I know Boyd went out for Cincinnati, but they still had Higgins and Chase. And, I mean, Kansas City's wide receiving core is already like lukewarm at best. And then for all those guys to go down, and it's pretty much just Valdez, Scantling, and Kelsey out there. And with the way they were throwing it and calling plays, at one point you would have thought it's Cincinnati that had the hurt QB and were missing all the wide receivers. I mean, I don't know if it was because of the pressure that was getting through, but they were doing like little screen dump off passes to P. Ryan and just being very conservative when you knew that wasn't going to win the game. I mean, I know they then kind of got out of that with that deep pass to a Chase at one point, which that was also those are some stones type call. But I don't know, man. Until then, I just thought, like, since Cincinnati, what are you doing? Like, open up the field a little bit. Either way, like I said, saying Joe Burrow is going to have a better career going forward now, of course it doesn't look that great. These guys are young. I think you can enter Jalen Hurts into that conversation, as a viewer on that video like very correctly pointed out. It's going to be great. The Super Bowl should be good. Hopefully it's a great game. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention as far as the Jalen Hurts thing goes. That guy is a grown man amongst grown men. If you guys saw that Nick Bosa, he had him wrapped up and dead to rights in the end zone for a safety. I think Jalen Hurts is the only QB in the entire NFL that gets out of the end zone to make that not a safety. And I'm including Josh Allen, Daniel Jones, big, strong guys. I mean, the strength that this guy has. He had one other play, it's slipping my mind now, where I'm like, holy moly. I'm telling you guys, this guy could have been an Olympic weightlifter. All right? Now, a quick explanation, powerlifting and weightlifting is different. I'm not saying the guy would have been the world's strongest man, because they don't pay attention to weight in that. Okay? But Olympic weightlifting goes for how much you weigh compared to how much you can lift. And he just, wow, what a strong man. Just scary strength. Nick Bosa is a giant of a man. And he just ran him right out of that end zone and saved the Eagles 2 points. It's crazy. Good luck, Kansas City, because you're not going to have as easy a time with him as you did with Joe Burrow. I'm not trying to say that he's a better QB, like a traditional QB, passing and everything, than Joe Burrow, but he's entered himself into the conversation. I think right now, those would be the three guys looking for. But anyway, that's a different conversation for a different day. Guys, gals, if you made it this far, as usual, thank you so much. I hate to say it too often, but I'm going to say it now. If you like the video, please consider subscribing. I'm still trying to get to that magical 1,000 number. Like the video if you liked it. Dislike it if you didn't like it. And please try to leave a comment if you feel like it. I think if you look back at my other videos, you'll see I try to respond as quickly as I can. I do work full time, so I might not see it. I do check it while I'm at work, but I might not see it for a couple hours. And sometimes I wish I could spend more time watching all this. I felt more in tune with all this when I was sitting at home collecting unemployment like a lazy bum during COVID. Obviously, I had more time to pay attention to the games, pay attention to the stats, pay attention to the Twitter banner or the sports talk show banter. And that gives me ammunition to kind of go at, some of these topics. But you know what? We're doing our best. I'm going to always keep trying. This channel's going to get better. Grow with me. Till then, Stay healthy. Peace.